Have you ever wondered why some report refresh super fast and others don't, even with the same data size? Many people think it is a reason of their laptop or the internet connection, but the actual thing is something called query folding. The surprising part is, if you don't know about query folding, your reports will be slower and your refresh will be heavier, and there are even chance you might fail an interview, because query folding is an important topic that frequently asked in interview rounds. So in the next few minutes, I will walk you through what is query folding in the simplest way possible and how it can literally make or break your Power BI projects. What is query folding? Query folding is a process that translates the transformation steps you apply in Power Query into the native language of the data source. It sounds too technical, right? Let me explain you. Think about your connected to a MySQL server and load the data into Power Query and doing some transformations. It can be removing a column or merging, whatever. Whatever transformation you are making in Power Query, corresponding M code will return for it. And those M code will be converted into the native language of data source if your database supports query folding. Since we are connected to MySQL server, it supports query folding. Those M code will be converted into the SQL statement and sent back to the data source itself. Think about a scenario. You have a 10 millions of rows in MySQL server and you are doing some filter process in Power Query to only get the data for year 2024. And when you apply those filter in Power Query, corresponding M code will be written for in the backend. Since we are connected to MySQL server, it supports query folding. Those M code will be converted into SQL statement and sent back to the data source. Instead of pulling all the data into Power Query and doing the transformation here, query folding pushes back those transformations into the data source itself. Suppose if query folding is not happening, all the 10 million rows will be loaded into Power BI and the transformation execute here, which is really inefficient. Why query folding is important? The first thing is performance optimization, because only the relevant data will be loaded into the Power BI. The second thing is scalability. It is essential when you are working with a large data set. The third thing is efficiency. Query folding uses the power of database or server instead of our local machine. The one more thing you need to understand about query folding is not every steps you apply in Power Query supports query folding. Power Query tries to push your transformation back to the data source, but only if the data source understands what actual operation is. So let me break it down very simply. Database that supports query folding. These are called precise database because it can effectively change or convert your M code into native language of a data source. For example, SAP HANA, SQL Server, MySQL Server, Oracle. In these cases, most of your filtering, grouping, joining, and basic calculation will be converted into the native language of the data source. Sources that don't support query folding: Excel files, CSV files, text files, JSON, WebScap data. These sources don't have a query engine behind them, so Power Query can't push the transformation back to the source. So everything happens inside Power BI. Even though your database supports query folding, there are some steps that is too complex to convert into the native language. The steps are custom columns with complex logic, adding an index column, row by row operations, on merging a query after expanding too many times, otherwise pivot or unpivot in some sources, and also changing a data type so many times. So once query folding breaks, the next steps you doing will also not support query folding. The golden rule is, if your database supports query folding, Power BI tries its best. If your transformation is too complex, query folding breaks. And if your source is coming from a flat file like Excel or CSV, not folding at all. So how to check query folding is happening or not? In Power Query, just right click, you will see an option called View Native Query. If it is enabled, query folding is happening. If it is disabled, query folding stops. So yeah, that's query folding. If you understood this, trust me, you are already smarter than half of the interview panel. If you don't get this, don't worry. Just rewatch the video again and again. It is very simple to understand. You will get it sooner. I will see you in the next more valuable video like this.